recording already, Skip?
I hit record, so we'll see where the recording shows up.
Are you recording on your computer or in the cloud?
I don't know. I don't
All right,
know.
well, we'll find out.
Yeah,
So,
something will happen.
yeah, today we're ending up quarter two. This is kind of a bonus session, just having an extra week here where we wanted to talk about like how first quarter went and where we're going with quarter two. So, I've hinted at this in a couple of sessions before, but first quarter, we focus on architecture, which is all your services. I'm sorry, all of your assets
Infrastructure.
and all your software that comprise of the infrastructure. What does your customer have? Now, this next quarter, yeah, Skip does look better. I don't know why.
Turn the lights on.
It's the extra polish.
There we go.
You were dim the other
You got
day.
the buffing cloth going.
You were pretty dim the other day.
Yeah,
Um,
that's normal, but
So the thing is, like, now that you know what your customer has, you know how to manage it. Now you have to match it up against what is your company capable of doing. Some of you have really great cybersecurity departments. Some of you guys have great risk management departments. Some of you are really great with Cisco support or FortiGate support or whatever the flavor of the week is for wireless controllers. Back in my day, it was Cisco ACS. Yes, I'm old. Uh, and stealing that from you, Skip.
there we go.
But the point is, now you have to determine what your bread and butter is going to be for servicing infrastructure. Are you a break fix shop or are you a managed service provider? Are you trying to sell people on managed PCs and managed assets where they don't have to worry about refreshing them every year? Or are you just dealing with assets as they hit the end of their warranty? Then you pitch a project to replace these. How do you do it? But that all comes down to services. And that's what we're going to spend the next 16 weeks, all the way up until summer, talking through this, because it's a major part of what MSPs do. And you're going to learn some different things about what does it mean to serve your customers. And it's very important that you understand it's not just break fix. There's way more to it. And there's a lot of money being left on the table because people are not serving their customers in an appropriate way. Yeah, you're fixing a PC, but there's more. There's way more. And there's lots more opportunity for projects when you realize there's more. So with that rhetoric out of the way, I just want to talk through like highlights of last quarter. If you followed our recommendations, you should have about 15 to 20 MSP clients audited at this point in time. If you didn't get that number audited, we're just talking just the infrastructure report. I can see a lot of people being really quiet on this call now. And what you're going to see is people chiming in. And what you're going to see is that some people are really great at getting things done and getting these audits accomplished. And then you have a lot of answers that came out of it. Some people got really busy first quarter. Some of your first quarters are insanely busy. You called us throughout the first quarter and asked us questions about how to onboard clients, about how to audit them, what to do next. And you fell behind. So maybe you only got 3 done. And then even more of you out there going, I didn't do any. You know, the great thing behind the essentials reports, the HIT reports, is they can all be done in about a little over an hour. They can all be done in an hour, technically, if you really know things well. We have a webinar we did last fall called QBR in under an hour. You should be able to fill out all 4 reports in under an hour for a given client if you know them well.
Well, let me jump in here, Adam. On these, if you haven't done those architecture reports, don't hesitate to delegate. All right, so get that. It does. Yeah, I have to remember that one. So get that sent out to a team lead, a senior engineer, just someone who works with this client pretty often. And it's really good because it can be done in the background. It's not a heavy client engagement. We've all got those engineers who are super smart, but we just really don't want them talking to our clients sometimes. All right, and that's okay. Let's leverage that that asset we have. Let them go through, fill that out. The great thing about the assessment is it doesn't have to be completely done, 100% all the time. It can be a work in progress, and get that in there, set expectation with your clients. And maybe you say, hey, we're doing a detailed assessment of your environment. And so far we've gone through end user resources, server management, and I forget some of those, network architecture, network infrastructure. All right. And just pick a few of the categories and go through those. And from that, you'll get a great conversation. You'll get an analysis of where they're at, some gaps, and where they need to be. And that's all you need to really drive some of those conversations. So don't set your expectations so high that you'll never get anything done. All right. Really start
Perfection away on is the enemy, people.
There we go. It will get easier as you go through them. Your team will get more comfortable using them. Your clients will get more exposure, and there's a lot of expectation with their clients that once they get these, they start looking at these, they like these. We hear that feedback all the time, that if you get these in front of your clients, they really kind of like them. Yep. So, just start small. Don't beat yourself out of success here by not at least starting.
Yeah, so let me show you guys kind of like, this is our roadmap, and I showed it in first quarter. I'm going to show it again now. It hasn't changed too much in how you kind of be adaptive. So I'm going to share my screen here. I'm going to stop this so you don't get duplicate, and I'm going to press my fancy button. Yay.
Oh, so it worked.
It worked. This is our roadmap. So this in first quarter, we went through all of this. And then, you know what? In 2023, guess what we're going to do? We're going to do it again. Exact same topics. I might tweak it a little bit as we find a little bit better topics or more honed topics that we can push in here. So for instance, quarter four, the summary we're doing today might be a little different next year. The launch of the software roadmap will probably still be there, but we might do it a little earlier next year, knowing that we have things to do and we have lots of features to push out. But we're moving into quarter two. So you can go on our YouTube channel and you can find any of these topics that I've highlighted are out on our YouTube channel right now. There's a playlist called Weekly Webinars. You can go right into it and you can binge the whole thing if you want. Just click play and let it go. Or you can go find one of these topics and watch it if you want to brush up on anything here that you missed. You fell behind, you missed some things. Hey, I'd really like to know more about how to run architecture audits. Just watch that series. But in second quarter, here's what we're doing. We're going to be going through all of these things. Like, for instance, April, schedule action items for educational institutions. Why do I have that as a topic in the first week of April? Because summer's coming, folks. And guess what? All your schools like to do during the summer, all their work. So if you're a primarily educational MSP, if that's what you're focused on, you need to be thinking, how do I get in front of private schools, elementary schools, and public schools in April? You want to beat the rest of the MSPs to the punch for projects. And also in April is about the time when E-rate starts really ramping up. So all the schools are going to be thinking about their asks on how they're going to expand their internet connectivity or any new provisions that came out in E-rate that they'll spend on you. And so if you don't know E-rate, you need to know E-rate if you're an educational person. So that's what we'll be talking about next week, because it's important. And we put that on the schedule so every year at this time we remember we need to talk about educational institutions and how we're going to deal with them. You should have a similar schedule for this in front of you as an MSP for your customers. When, during the year, do you focus on what? Because if you don't, you're going to get halfway through the year and realize that, oh my gosh, we missed 6 opportunities last quarter.
Yeah.
And it happens. But if I hadn't written out this schedule last year and improved it in December and then released it again, so 2022, we have a 2021 as well, then I wouldn't be reminded in week 1 to write up an agenda on how to talk to you guys about educational institutions. For you, it might be April 1st, reach out to client XYZ and talk to them about their E-rate renewals. Or in some cases, Private schools in March tend to go through grant processes.
Mm-hmm.
And they might have a bunch of money to deal with, or they might have, at this point, some really great ideas on who is going to be providing them grants in the terms of hundreds of thousands of dollars to do things like Chromebook upgrades and do e-learning suites, smart boards, all these things that you can install with your eyes closed. They will have money to spend $30,000-$40,000 all in a lump sum. A customer that may have only spent $500 a month with you before in a private school might be primed to spend $30,000 in April.
And these are, and we'll obviously, dive into this more, but these are great partnerships with your clients, because when especially these folks that are getting grant money, you really get to brainstorm with them. And they get to tell you really what they're wanting to do and how they want to engage with students or whatever their service is that they're offering, and you just listen to what they're wanting to do, and then you can begin positioning technology solutions in there, and you can even create a kind of a menu of items. Well, if you get money in this amount, you could do this, or if you only get these this slightly reduced amount of dollars, then you could do this sort of thing with them, and you become a real partner with your client rather than just some sort of provider that's selling them stuff. So really take this opportunity to engage with your clients.
So once we get done with that next week, that's a big topic. I could probably spend an entire month talking about E-Rate and how we use it to make massive differences at institutions. If you do our marketing collateral, the four pillars marketing collateral that we have an educational institution, an elementary school, as our case study that I reference all the time. And it's because we made such a massive difference with them using things like E-Rate, using things like grant opportunities to turn them from a $1,500 a month client to a $9,000 a month client. And so when we get done with educational institutions, we can move on to things like, hey, how can we work with our fiscal year clients? Anybody who's on a government schedule who starts their fiscal year coming up, you need to kind of get your projects in front of them.
Yep.
It's kind of like how I tell people, you guys need to get in front of your calendar year customers around October for your asks with your handout saying, hey, we want to do these projects in January. For your fiscal year people, you want to do this in April. You want to get your handout. You want to have those asks ready so that they can get you on their schedule. You want to be the first person to the table. So you say, oh, we already spent that money with MSP X. You want to be the first person to the table for the CFO to evaluate. Then we're going to move into things like every year, classifying your customers. How big are your customers? How small are your customers? What should you be doing with them? For those of you running playbooks, which you should be running to manage your client activities, this is super important. We'll go over that. So throughout this quarter, we're going to continue doing this. And then next year, we're going to go over the same thing. If you go into our history, which I don't have it on YouTube, but it's in the Wistia account, you can see that we talked about all these last year. And we're going to talk about it again this year. We're going to refresh it. The reason we do that is we want you to be consistent on delivery so you make more money. Consistency means more money. If you're inconsistent, you're going to drop things and you're going to leave cash on the table. You're going to forget about projects. You're going to be like, oh crap, we forgot to get up there in front of the educational institutions in April. And now it's June. It's too late now.
Yeah.
They've already signed contracts with the technology companies out there. So we have this roadmap. So when you guys are in these community sessions and we're watching these recordings for those of you guys in other time zones, we're reminding you of the events coming up and the things you need to work on. This doesn't mean you change your operational schedule. It might affect your operational schedule when you realize that there are projects you need to do today or you need to hold off on until June. But at least it puts it in your control rather than you reacting to everything that comes out. So for those of you who are tired of being in a reactionary stance and putting up fires all the time, that is the point of these community meetings, is for us to move through this schedule and move through it in a consistent fashion every year, so this starts becoming routine. And then it becomes second nature as you build a skill in each one of these weeks every year, and it reinforces year after year after year, and that is the humanized process. You follow through with this. At the end of the year, we start over again, and your client relationships get better. You get more money out of them because they trust you more. And this is a win for everyone because their companies get better, you get better, you don't get undercut, they get to be making more money, and everybody wins. And you become this invaluable customer.
Yeah, this proactive element is really important. I mean, if you look at our business model for MSPs, we got into this for a variety of reasons, but one was this proactive sense that we get in there. And so you scroll back, a few years, not that far. This is not a really old man story. All right. So, but if you scroll back just a little bit to, kind of the launch of the virtual environments, everyone's got their hypervisor and they're spinning up these virtual machines. We always kind of, disk space was a little bit more of an issue back then. And so we were always sizing those virtual machines to just what they needed to be, right? And it made sense because we could always add more space if we need it. But in doing so, we kind of set ourselves up to operate on the edge. And those C drives, that OS drive would fill up pretty often. And when it did, things just started falling apart. And so what did we do? From a technology perspective, we put in proactive measures. We put in alerts. We put in systems that, hey, this is filling up. Or we identified ways to, go back through and review all these machines and go, hey, this type of machine is always going to get an update, which is always going to, break our storage allocations. Let's just change it going forward so that we don't have this problem in the future. And so in my mind, that's kind of MSP 1.0. To do MSP 2.0, you need to take that same proactive approach and start talking to your clients about their budgets, about what they're trying to do with technology. What are the big challenges that are coming up? Are they feeling pressure from competitors? Are they getting some sort of industry regulation that is going to totally change the way they do business? Let's get ahead of that rather than being on the receiving end when you got a client that comes up and goes, yeah, they released new guidelines for us yesterday, and we're going to have to turn all these features off or something. And now you're left scrambling, right? Because you weren't on the leading side of that process. Now you're just in this, essentially, you've put yourself in a break fix role again. Right? And we know how hard it is to manage that break fix. We know how hard that is on our margins many times, and we know what that does to our relationship with the clients. It just reduces us to a vendor and really nothing more. So get ahead of that curve.
Yeah. So, and again, it's consistency. And you'll hear me consistently say consistency and cadence is the key to success. Now, I am not a process guy. I am not somebody who likes pushing the same button over and over and over again. And part of what you need to know is that even being somebody who hates repeating himself and repeating activities, I hate going on the same walks all the time. I like new things. I like exploring new areas and seeing new things. You still have to have a consistency and purpose. And having a roadmap does not mean that you're rigidly setting a schedule for yourself. It just means you are approaching things from a thematic approach. That you are setting a theme. So second quarter is service. First quarter is architecture. Chances are this is the way it will always be for the Humanized IT framework. It may adapt at some points, so something may change where it makes more sense for us to run different themes at different times of the year. Right now, from our analysis, a lot of heavy thought went into when do we do different themes, and we know that we can't figure out how we want to serve a customer without knowing what they have. We can't identify risks until we have a service in place that is working with the customer and identifying where the risks are. And you can't develop a strategy until you know what services, risks, and architecture is in place. And so these are all things that kind of put together, and every year we get a little bit better. Every year we treat a customer a little bit better, and we see them grow on the dashboard. We see their gauge start filling up. We see more projects get under our belts, and we develop this relationship over time. And that is why we create a thematic approach to each week and each month and each quarter. And that's an agile principle. I think it's it's epic theme story sprint. I think doing that off the top of my head here, people. And so you want to break things down, but you want to make sure that you're still fluid. That if something happens this week, you can deal with it, but know that you missed out on talking to those educational institutions because you were putting out some security fire this week. It had to happen, but you missed it. You can say, this is a priority for us. Let's do it in week 2 instead.
Yeah.
Let's schedule these conversations. Otherwise, you'll get 6 weeks down the road and then you'll realize, wait a minute, I forgot. Oh, April 1st came around and I forgot to talk to our favorite elementary schools. Crap, you just lost $60,000, and you didn't even know it.
And don't minimize the chance to now look back on Q1 and identify things that you think, hey, I should really do this in Q1. I should have really done this. All right, turn around and put that on your playbook. I mean, good grief, just start a Word document, if nothing else. Don't forget where you put it, but put that in as your plan for 2023 Q1.
Create an event on your calendar for today, change the year to 2023,
and save. Yep, there you go. Well, and put it forward a little bit. So, we all look at that and go, oh, that's a great idea. I should have done that or whatever. I missed that opportunity. And, especially, okay, here's the old man story. The older you get, the faster time goes by. Yes. All right. And I think we can all appreciate that we'll look up here in what will seem like a very short amount of time, and we'll be back in Q1 again. And we just finished it, but I know we've got, on the calendar says 9 months now until Q1 pops again, but to be honest, it's going to come up on us a lot faster. So this is a great opportunity at the very end of Q1. Look back. What did you miss? What went really, really well? What did you think? Wow, if I could have done that with 10, 15, 20%, 100% of my clients, what would that have looked like in Q1? And if that was good, start planning that now for Q1 2023. Those are the sort of things that's going to really build over time. And that's not just, hey, we're making more money because we gained a new customer. That doesn't really always make you more money, right? But it's, were we more efficient? Did our margins go up? Did we capitalize more on the clients that we already have? Sometimes you can make a ton of money off the clients you have currently. You don't necessarily need new clients. You just need to work the ones you got.
Yeah.
So, oh no,
Richard, come on, you're killing me here. Life's like a roll of toilet paper. The closer you are to the end, the faster it goes.
Faster it gets.
That is true, because you get inevitably what's going to happen. This is I've been working with you MSPs since 2017 here. I came out of the corporate environment and into the MSP world thinking, oh, it's going to be different. But lo and behold, every year we get to around October, and I can look at our budget here and income and when all of you sign up, usually. For workshops and desperation for coaching and everything. Like, as you hit the end of the year, you're like, oh my gosh, it's the end of the year. I've got nothing done. Yep. And I can see monetarily, fourth quarter is a great quarter for us, because people get desperate to get their goals done at the end of the paper. They're looking down the barrel at the end of the year going, crap, I have to get all this done. And so we have a ton of people who sign up for those last few months of the year, because they're getting to the end and it's going faster and faster and faster, and they panic and they buy, which is great for us. But also, I want people to be consistent. What is it? I was just looking up the quote. Chance favors the prepared mind.
There we go.
When you are ready for something is not when chance helps. You need to always be ready, so that when chance happens, you are prepared to take advantage. And that's what our entire roadmap is built for. That's what these community updates are built for. We want you to be prepared so that when opportunity happens, you are ready. And the trick to it is that by being prepared, you're creating more opportunities. You're creating more quality opportunities. You're not just waiting for opportunities to fall in your lap, but you're actually creating opportunity by following these roadmaps, by reaching out to schools in April. You're creating opportunities that would not exist because they didn't exist in February. They won't exist in June. They only exist when it's top of mind for the E-rate providers and for the schools who are looking forward to their summer and what they spend money on.
Yep.
And if you're not the one in front of them, that you chance happen to have this lunch meeting with them in April, oh yeah, we just got an idea for a grant. What do you think about this? Like, oh yeah, we can definitely help with that.
Yep.
You didn't have that lunch meeting with them. They might have been in the back of their head. They should probably reach out to a technology provider, but right now they're too busy with classroom curriculum, dealing with those sticky PTAs, and you're not top of the mind for them. But you have that lunch, you suddenly are. Hey, we have like $30,000. What do you think we could do for that in a, I don't know, making our internet faster? Or do you have anything in VR that we can do? Because there's this grant out there for VR in the classroom, and we want to figure out how to do it. I can't tell you how many times I've come across that just by having lunch or a beer with somebody. But knowing that every year you consistently deliver and are having these conversations, to them it's magic. You just happen to be in the right place at the right time. No, there's hard work behind that.
Yeah.
Create opportunities for yourselves, people. Important items for Q2. Your fiscal year clients and your educational clients they're ripe for the picking right now in Q2. Have your services ready to talk about why you are going to provide better business solutions in Q2 with services than the competitors. Everybody else will keep the lights on. You're going to make the money. That's what you're looking for.
Yep.
So the last thing I want to talk about Q2 webinars and community updates. Again, you saw the roadmap. In Q2, we're looking at, see if I can hold myself to this. Skip and I designed out in April. If we can get our guest speaker to sign on, we're going to do how to talk like a CFO. It's kind of like the podcast we did, except we're going to bring an actual CFO in and talk about what do they actually care about. What do they see, and what are the big problems, and why they're not attending your meetings as an MSP? Yeah. And that's a common question. It's like, how do we get in front of the C-levels? And then in May, we're going to try to do some marketing strategy and design. We'll see if we can't get our friend Paul Green on for that one. And then in June, it looks like we're going to focus on boutique MSPs. What does that mean, and why are they killing it right now?
They are. There's a lot of them out there.
Anyways, that's what our webinar series looks like for these next 3 months. We're going to try to do one webinar a month, try to sign up for them. They'll try to be around the third and the fourth Thursday of every month, depending on how I feel and how busy we are and how we adapt to the month's goals. So
let me make a shout out a couple things. Richard, I know you're on the call. I want to say thank you. So I made a request a couple of member updates ago for some more background information on IT Glue, and Richard's using it, and so he booked a time with me, and we sat down and we went over his IT Glue implementation, and we looked for things that we might be able to leverage. To be honest, we didn't find a lot that would, at least from our perspective, and at that point in time, we didn't find a lot that we thought would move over well into the type of engagements that we're trying to have. Now, we haven't closed the book on that, so that's why I want to keep that out there. If you guys have things that you're looking to do, and you're like, we've got this data set, or we've got this process, and you want to walk through that with us, please let us know. Michael's on the call too. We get some great feedback from him. He seems to be our technical guy, and so he's always got some good stuff. And so I'm taking some of his stuff, and we're working that on the back end. So we really, really do appreciate your feedback on this. That is one of our hallmarks at Managed Services Platform, is we are a member-driven community. Adam talks about that all the time. And so I just want to throw that out there again. I know we've got a lot of folks in different time zones that you may be listening to this recording later. I want to say it again to everyone, live or recording, please reach out to us if you've got something that you want to walk through. IT Glue seems to be really popular right now. So, if there's something you're looking to do on that, I would love to walk through that with you. So please feel free to reach out to us and grab some time, and we can dive into that.
Yeah, I'm looking to, just from a business standpoint, we're looking to bring on, we have a great developer team. And they're fantastic at building up new things in the React. So the dashboard and some of the things in the asset management and little break fixes we have. What we're looking at is bringing on a part-time employee just to focus on integrations with things like Autotask, ConnectWise, and any other opportunities. Like I heard in Ninja RMM, I hear is making headway lately. So we need to hear from you guys who are in the tools in your PSAs on a daily basis, what it is that is missing and what would make your day easier. Now, we're not going to solve your operational goals. We are a strategic group. We are here to help you do better strategy. But if there are things like, I just had a great conversation earlier this morning about how there are some really neat things we could bring in from ConnectWise for the client engagement scores. I did not know that were there. I never really looked at the activities and how they were scored inside ConnectWise. And I thought, oh, well, that won't be too bad. So that's something that can be put on the project for this new position we have to focus on integrations between the PSAs. So reach out, let us know your ideas so we can get them on the board and we can put them on the roadmap, which hopefully I'll be showing you the roadmap here in a couple weeks. I'm very excited about it. It's pretty much done now, and we're ready to tell you when we're going to be releasing what major features. Some very exciting things are coming up. Some less exciting things like automatic enrollment and the ability to manage your payments on your portal will be a lot easier. But more exciting is things like asset management. Some really cool things coming. CFO and budget conversations are about to get revitalized just like the dashboard. It's going to be really cool. And then finally, your project roadmaps are going to get a major upgrade as well. These are all things where we're not going to change the way you're doing it, but we're going to make it so much easier that having conversations with your project management team and having conversations with CFOs so that the companies you work with give you more money are going to be easy. They're going to be like falling off a log because Adam Walter's lazy, and I want you to be lazy too, but making money.
There we go.
All right. We'll talk to everyone later, and we'll see you next week for the first of our educational webinars or seminars for quarter 2. Thank you, everyone.